So we took our first extended road trip in our Model 3 earlier this week. How did things work out in an electric vehicle, knowing we were going to have to charge at least once during the round trip? We'll be taking a look at that in this video. So this is the 10th video that I've posted to my wife's Tesla since the channel started, just about 30 days ago. If you happen to enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like. If you're finding any of this content helpful, would really appreciate a subscribe to the channel. We ended up taking a short road trip from the northern suburbs in Detroit to Cedar Point, which is an amusement park in Sandusky, Ohio. Overall, the round trip is just over 300 miles, and we knew there was going to be a need to charge at some point during that trip. Now, I wouldn't say there was some anxiety going into the trip, but it was one of these things where we knew we were staying overnight somewhere. Never having done that in an electric vehicle, there was this sense of unknown. We just weren't really sure what to expect. Overall, it was a really neat experience, and we didn't have any problems. So the trip. Typically, I charge to 80% on a nightly basis. For this trip, after doing some research with a better route planner, I knew there wasn't going to be a problem getting to our destination on a single charge. So I opted to charge to 90% the night before. That would give us enough energy to get down to our destination and do some running around with the vehicle to and from the park, to and from restaurants, and position it so we would have to charge prior to departing Sandusky. And I just happened to know there was a supercharging station right there in Sandusky, Ohio, so I could charge it up after we left the park on the last night and would have enough charge to get us home to northern Detroit. Now, one thing I noticed related to the Model 3 is the abundance of storage space in the trunk. I knew the trunk had a lot of room. I didn't realize how much room it had. I wasn't really trying to organize things very well when I was packing because I knew we didn't have a ton of things that we were taking with us. But one thing I noticed was there was a ton of space in the trunk. It's safe to say I have no concerns with the amount of trunk capacity. Now, the drive down was uneventful. The Model 3 was very comfortable with 3 adults and 1 child. So we had 4 of us in the vehicle. Everyone had more than enough room, and the ride was very comfortable. Autopilot made the trip even more enjoyable. I let the car take care of the tedious driving. I will add, it would have been nice to have enhanced autopilot. It's kind of a pain whenever I want to change lanes being on autopilot. It disengages the autopilot. Now, is it worth $6,000 for the recent change to purchase enhanced autopilot? I'm not really sure of that. If they were to come out with a monthly subscription model similar to what they had for full self-driving, I would probably entertain that, but I'm not sure I want to spend $6,000 for that feature. So we ended up arriving at the hotel with a 42% charge remaining. Now, when we started the trip, the energy consumption graph estimated we would have about a 46% charge when we arrived at our destination at the hotel. We did have to make a slight detour on our way down. We ended up stopping for lunch, which wasn't really part of the plan. So getting off the highway, finding McDonald's, and being sidetracked with a supercharging station that I didn't realize was there. And my 10-year-old saw a neon green Model Y that he wanted to go check out, so we had to go look at that. Arriving with a 42% charge was right there in the ballpark of what I expected us to be at. After 2 days of driving back and forth from the hotel to the water park to the amusement park, going to dinner in downtown Sandusky, we left the park on the last night with a 20% charge. So there was no range anxiety from my perspective. We had plenty of charge to get down there and do the running around And based upon my planning, I figured, okay, we're gonna have to charge before we take off. We had 20% remaining on the batteries, so we ended up pulling into the supercharging station in Sandusky. 20 minutes is about the time that we were there, and that ended up giving us a 70% charge for our return trip home. It was nice because the supercharging station was in a Meijer parking lot in Sandusky, so we were able to run into the store, grab some waters, hit the restroom, come back to the vehicle, get organized a little bit with our luggage, and be on our way with a 70% charge. You know, to me, not a whole lot different from stopping at a gas station. You know, maybe it was a little bit longer than it would have been, but typically if we were to stop at a gas station, we're gonna run in anyways, get something to drink after the car is filled up. Did it take maybe another 5 or 10 minutes? Yeah, maybe, but to me, that's not a problem. So how did the trip pan out? There were no issues with range anxiety. You know, I did keep an eye on the energy consumption graph on the way down just to kind of monitor how we were consuming that battery. Once I saw that it was staying pretty consistent with, you know, mid to low 40s for our arrival at our hotel, I wasn't concerned at all. I also knew there was a supercharging station right there in Sandusky. So I knew based upon my planning that we would be charging up before we left our destination in Sandusky to head home. So that pre-planning part was useful for me. I guess the main lesson learned that I took away from this experience is, you know, do that pre-planning. You know, I leveraged a better route planner to ensure that I would have enough charge on my way down, or determine if I was going to have to stop to charge before we got to our destination. I knew there was a supercharging station at Sandusky, so I knew I was going to be hitting that to charge up before I went home. I know for any future road trips I take with our Tesla, that's something I absolutely will do. I wouldn't hesitate taking another road trip in our Model 3. Actually, I'm looking forward to it. I want to take a longer extended road trip. I just thought it was pretty cool being able to pull in and charge up and avoid any gas stations. And at the end of the day, our charge from going from 20% to 70% for our trip home cost us a total of $18. So there you go. It was a great experience. Wouldn't hesitate to do it again, and I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully you found that helpful, and we'll see you guys in the next video.